I own a staggering 1,128 games on Steam. However, I have not played the vast majority of these games. But with this new series, that's going to change. I have 3 rules. Rule 1, I have to select the game randomly from a wheel. 2, I have to play for a minimum of 1 hour. And lastly, I have to rate the game honestly at the end without any bias whatsoever. Roki. Can't say I've heard of it. Now, it turns out Roki is the exact type of game I've never found much enjoyment in personally. That being the indie, cutesy art style with very little gameplay. From the hour and a half I did play, the story wasn't exactly keeping me on the edge of my seat either. The puzzles, which it's tough to call them that, primarily consist of walking back and forth between areas, picking up the same items over and over to progress to the next area, where you then have to do the same again. Now, I know these games are more so meant as a casual way to wind down or relax to a nice soft soundtrack that plays during your wandering, but unfortunately, it's just not for me. Now, pretty early on, you find yourself in a bit of a predicament with a giant creature, which could have led to a potentially tense situation or feeling. However, that's very quickly thrown away when you start picking up old notes and old school journals and talking to yourself in a very casual manner in this tense situation where your house is getting blown apart, which for me just ruins any chance of, feeling like you're in a tricky situation. Like, why am I yapping about an old school journal when there's like a 400-foot monster outside? Now, so far, I've done nothing but talk about the negatives. Now for what I did like. The art style and the soundtrack were both good in my opinion. The Scandinavian setting was cool, as it was littered with Norse mythology as part of the game's story. I thought the art style was unique, not in how it looks, but more so in how they managed to create a dark and eerie atmosphere multiple times, only in the hour and a half that I played, while keeping the cute looking art style throughout. The soundtrack was solid. It never tried to take over, nor was it particularly noticeable for the most part. However, it always fit the mood at each point in the game. The voice acting was kept to a bare minimum of just the occasional shouting of names, and besides that, just a bunch of mumbling and groaning sadly. Now, finally, for the ratings. I've made a list of categories I'm going to rate before giving my overall rating of my 1 hour experience of Roki. First up, we have gameplay, which I'm giving a 2 out of 10. Next, art style, 7 out of 10. Audio, I'll give it another 7 out of 10. My first impression, I didn't have much hope, but the art style was interesting enough for me to give this a 4 out of 10. How polished the game was, I don't remember a single bug or freeze or anything. So I have to give that a 10 out of 10 because there was no reason for it not to be. As for entertainment value, for me, it's just not the game for me. I didn't find it entertaining. I was waiting for the hour to end. So sadly, I'm going to have to give that a 3 out of 10 because there could be worse, but there definitely could be a lot better. And will I continue to play after that first hour? And the answer is definitely no. I will not be going back to the game. So all in all, I think the overall rating for Roki is going to be a 3.6 out of 10. Sadly, there's not much more I can say about the game in general. I only played for an hour, and thankfully that's over, as I did not really enjoy myself. It was a nice visual experience, as well as, interesting for some of the puzzles initially, and then they got very repetitive very quickly. All in all, though, for the first game of this series, it's not great, so hopefully it will improve going forward.